Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Tessie and today we are going to be recreating this style. If you're new to the channel, you're welcome. If you're yet to subscribe, kindly do that and let's get right into the video. So I have my pattern paper folded into two. It's best to use a pattern for this first before transferring to your fabric. So guys, what I did was to chalk my shoulder measurements divided into two. As you can see, I came down to the chest line, then down to the waist, then down to the hip line, and then my gown length. That's your full gown length. For the neckline, I'm using 3.5 by 6 inches. Then I connected it together. So at the shoulder, I came down by 1 inch and connected my lines and then curved in my armhole. So what I'll be doing next is taking my bust measurement divided by 4 at the chest line. I'll place it down and then add 2 inches for my sewing allowance. So guys, there is no dart on this dress. If you look at the picture we are trying to recreate, they didn't add any dart. So at the waistline, I'll take my waist measurement divided by 4 and also add 2 inches for my sewing allowance. So what I'll do next is to connect from the chest line to the waistline. So guys, after connecting, what I'll do next is at the hip, I'm going to place my hip divided by 4. I'll chuck it down and then add 2 inches for my sewing allowance. Then from the waistline, I'll connect to my hip line. So I'll go ahead now to connect. So what I'll do is to blend that point. Guys, after blending, I'll check what I have at that hip line area. So I have 13 inches. I'm going to minus 2 inches from it at the down part. I want it to be penciled. So I took 2 inches off and I'll place it down there. So I'll place in 11 inches. Then from the hip, I'll connect to the gown length. So what I'll do next is to cut out my pattern. So guys, after cutting out my pattern, whatever we have here, I'm going to transfer it to this other side of the pattern. So now let's start with the neckline. So for the neckline, what I have here, I'm just going to sketch it, chuck it at the back too. And also at this point, I'm going to chuck it at the back and then open it up. Hope you understand. If you don't get it, just rewind and you understand what I did. So I'll connect it together. So I'm just connecting the neckline together. After connecting it together, I'll go ahead to connect the other lines. After connecting my lines, I'll quickly indicate this as my waistline, hip line, and my gown length. So guys, what we are doing next is to shape our dress. So you know we kept 2 inches for the allowance. So I'm just going to chalk out 2 inches and then shape the dress. I don't know if you understand. So just take out the allowance you put before. You know I added 2 inches. So I'll chalk my allowance and then connect it all the way down. So just go ahead and shape in your dress on both sides. So as you can see, I'm just trying to shape this other side of the pattern. So go ahead, shape your dress all the way down. So guys, after shaping my dress, this is what it looks like. Next thing is to determine where you want the slant to be. Do you want it to be at the right hand side or do you want it to be at the left hand side? It all depends on your preference. So after doing that, take a very good look at the screen. You realize that the slant didn't start from the waist. It started a bit up. So I'm going to be coming up on that waistline by 1 inch. My slant is starting from 1 inch after before my waistline. So I came up by 1 inch as you can see. So from that 1 inch, I'm going to slant all the way down. So I don't want to slant all the way down to my hip. I'm going to come up a bit. So you can choose to slant from that waistline all the way down to your hip or you come up a bit. So from the hip, I came up by 2 inches. So my slant will stop from that 2 inches. So from this point, I'll slant all the way down here. Hope you understand. So I'll take my ruler and just slant. So guys, after slanting, this is what it looks like as you can see. So what we'll be doing next is working on the neckline. So for the neckline, as you can see on the screen, it's just the slant from here to here. So it's very simple. So I'm just going to slant from this point all the way down here. So after slanting, we are good to go I'll go ahead now to label this as my top part, that's my half length, and this as my down part, that's the skirt length. I'll go ahead now to cut out my neckline and then cut out the half length. So just watch what I'm doing. It is very, very simple. So guys, this is what the front looks like. So guys, when transferring this pattern to my fabric, we are not cutting on fold. We are just going to place it and cut. So let's go ahead and cut out the back. So for the back, it's just going to be a normal half length. We are not slanting the back. It's just going to be normal. So what I'll do is to chalk out my zip allowance of 2 inches all the way down. Then connect it into a straight line. Then take my shoulder measurement divided by 2, place my armhole, and then my half length. So it's just a normal bodice. So I'll label my lines, and then for the neckline, I'm going to be using 3.5, just the way we did in the front. Then come down by 1 inch for my shoulder slope. I'll connect my lines together. So you determine how deep you want the back neckline to be. I want my own to be a bit deep, so I'm using 5.5 inches. After chalking my 5.5 inches, I'll connect using my curve ruler. So what I'll do next is to check what I have at that chest line area, divide it by 2, and then place my curve ruler and curve out my back armhole. Then I'll place my bust measurement divided by 4 plus 2 inches, my half length divided by 4, that's my waistline plus 2 inches. Then I'll connect my lines together. So guys, in order to eliminate zipper bulge, I'm going to connect my half line. Then from that point, I'll come in by 1 inch. So from this point, I just came in by 1 inch, and then I'm slanting all the way up. So I use my ruler, then slant it all the way up and indicate this line as my zipper allowance. I'll go ahead now to cut out my pattern. So guys, I'm not really emphasizing on the back because I have several videos on how to do that. So guys, I'll quickly indicate this as my back pattern and then cut out the down part, that's the skirt part of the back, by adding 2 inches for my zipper allowance. So guys, I hope you guys understand what I just said. So I'm going to be using this fabric. I have an Ankara of 2 yards and a crepe fabric of 2 yards as well. So I placed my pattern on my fabric. I'm trying to secure them together using my pin. After securing my fabric, you can see that my fabric is not on fold. I just place it directly this way. So guys, what I'll do next is to leave out half inch for joining allowance at the down part and then cut out the rest. So guys, if you're yet to subscribe, kindly do that and let's get right into the video. Please do not forget to add your shoulder allowance. So guys, after cutting out my fabric, this is what the top part looks like. As you can see, I'll go ahead now to cut out my lining piece. Before doing that, please indicate the back so you don't get confused. So guys, for the down part, I'm not cutting on fold. I placed my fabric this way. I'm just going to place my pattern on it. After placing my pattern, I'll go ahead now to secure it together using my pins. Now, I want the length of the fabric to be the full length of my Ankara. So I'm using the full length of my Ankara. So what I'll do is just connect this line all the way down. So I want it a bit long. So I connected it all the way down. Then I'll go ahead now to cut out my fabric. But before doing that, I left half inch for joining allowance at the top part. So guys, after cutting out my skirt part, I'm just going to take out the pin. Then after taking out my pin, if you place the top part and the down part together, this is what it will look like. As you can see, I'll go ahead now to cut out lining for each of them. So for the back, I've cut out my back, as you can see, and also cut out the down part of the back. So what I'll do is just take out my pin and cut out lining pieces for both the top part of the back and the down part of the back. So I'll go ahead now to do that. So guys, what I did next was to add paper stay to my top part, which I regretted because I later took it out. So do not add paper stay to this. Just join your lining and your crepe fabric together by placing them together and stitching the neckline using half inch all the way up, and then stitch the sides and then turn it to the right side. So guys, I've also added lining to the down part, that's the skirt part. So after adding your lining to the top part and the down part, you're just going to place them like this and then stitch. So you place them right side facing each other. You can pin it down and then stitch using half inch all the way down. So guys, after stitching, I'm just going to notch the areas that I stitch and then give it a very good press. So guys, for the back, I've joined the half length and the down part together and closed the zip allowance. So if you open it up, this is what it looks like. I'll give it a very good press. So guys, after ironing, I'm just going to join the top part and the back together, right side facing each other, stitch the shoulder area with half inch, then shape my dress. So I'll go ahead now to shape my dress. After shaping my dress, this is what it looks like before taking out the paper stay. You know, I said I added paper stay to it. I don't like the effect. I don't think it's nice, so do not add paper stay to it. So for the sleeve, I folded my fabric into four, chalked the starting point, curved my armhole and just took it down. So I chalked the length of my sleeve, which I'm using 28 inches. So guys, I made my armhole a bit big, so I'm just going to pleat it back to get my armhole measurement. I want it to have little pleat around that shoulder area. Hope you understand. So I'll just cut out my sleeve. After cutting out my sleeve, this is what it looks like. I will notch the middle part, and then when you open it up, we have two pieces for the sleeve. So now I'm just going to fold this part in, then stitch it all the way down. Then I'll be passing my elastic. I'll do the same thing for the other parts. So guys, after doing that, I'll place my sleeve and then stitch it on the dress. So I've taken out the paper stay at this point. So after stitching my sleeve, I'm just going to place my elastic in. I'll put my elastic in my office pin, place it inside that elastic casing. Then after placing it, I'm just going to stitch that part to secure them together. So I'll flip it to the wrong side, stitch it down. So I'll go ahead now to stitch it down, flip it to the wrong side and stitch. You do the same thing for this part as well. So guys, after stitching, this is what it looks like. So I'll open up the zip allowance area. I'll attach my zipper to it, give it a very good press, and then show us the end result. So guys, this is the outcome. This is what it looks like. I'm really loving this dress and I'm definitely going to rock it to church on Sunday. Hope this tutorial was helpful. Please make sure send it to me on Instagram or you can tag me on TikTok at So with Tess. Hope this tutorial was helpful. Please do not forget to subscribe to the channel, like this video, drop a comment, and I'll see you guys in my next class. Bye.